Well, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Intimate Conversations with OrenLyric in the closet, but out the closet. I'm here today with my special guest, Mr. Tay Rashad. What's good?
What's good? What's good? Hello, everybody.
I'm so glad to have him. I think y'all gonna really enjoy his story and what he's doing now. You know, he came to Atlanta and really made something of himself and got some serious things going on. And like I said, in the closet but out the closet, we were in the closet hiding our destiny, our purpose, our future, who we really were, and now we out making an impact on the world and want to leave a mark. You know what I'm saying? So when it's time for us to get up on out of here, people will still be talking about us and the work that we've done for generations to come. So what's good, Tay?
Good.
It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
It's nice. So I know your name and everything, but tell everybody your name
Okay.
and where you're from.
Okay, so my name is Tara Shud. My real name is Altavius, but I choose to just go by Tay. Literally everybody in my family calls me by Tay. Outside, of course, my parents, in events, when I get in trouble, they want to call me pull government out. But, so that's where Tay came from, and Rashad is my middle name, so I just put it all together, Tay Rashad. I'm originally from Valley, Alabama, so I'm a small town country
Now, how
boy.
many people heard of Valley, Alabama?
That's
I had
nobody.
never. So he told me I had never ever heard of Valley,
When I
Alabama.
say it's very small.
So what
It's
city is it actually close to that people would know, or about an hour, 2 hours away from?
so we're an hour away from Atlanta. Like 30 minutes south of LaGrange. And maybe like 20 minutes north of Auburn.
Okay.
So close to the area. But so yeah, country boy, born and raised, but I was always a city boy at heart. So we knew from an early age that he was not going to be staying in
Wait a minute. So
Dallas.
how was it growing up in Valley, Alabama? Just give me a weekend in Valley. Just growing up.
Oh, a weekend in the valley really is nothing to do.
Right.
So the weekend would be either going down to Auburn, um, going to Birmingham, going to Montgomery, but for me coming to Atlanta, that was you know
So do you have any
my escape.
siblings?
I do. So I have an older sister and a younger brother.
Oh, okay, okay. So you're in the middle.
Hmm.
Okay, okay. And what's their names, if you?
My sister is Zayada and my brother is Andricus.
Oh, let's shout them out. Go ahead. Hey, y'all brother in the big time. But I'm really grateful for you coming and sitting with me. You know what I'm saying? I'm just starting this, you know what I'm saying? But I've been really grateful to God that He's been really sending some dope people. And like I said, when Natural presented you, I was like, yes, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like you had something that looked at your work and different things like that. So before we get into the Tay Rashad,
Hmm.
I don't know if you saw, I had interviewed Rashad Corey. He's into film and fashion design and wardrobe styling for television and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So it's funny your name was Rashad too. So
Right.
yeah, see that kind of doing the same kind of work. So before we get into all of that, so how long have you been in Atlanta?
I've been in Atlanta for going on 5 years. So March the 4th will make 5 years of like staying here. I did have like a brief history where I graduated from college in 2015.
Okay, so what did you get your degree in?
So my bachelor's and my master's are both in human resource management. So I graduated college with my bachelor's in 2015. I already knew, like I said, hands down, Valley is not it for me. I gotta go. Plus, there's no opportunities down there. So I was applying for jobs. Really wasn't getting one in my field, but I was just like,
Hold
well,
on, I want to fix your mic because it might be on. I don't want to be rubbing on your chest, and I need to make sure the blue light is flashing. Okay. All
so
right.
I was like, well, I know I don't want to stay
Mm-hmm.
in Valley. So I moved up here. I was applying with HR roles. It's roughly, they want you to come out already having experience. And the thing is, well, I can't get experience if nobody will give me the opportunity. So fast forward, I end up accepting a job at a call center up in Duluth. And I was staying with my cousin in Fairburn at the time. I didn't know that it was here and there long distance. Would not recommend. That drive was not worth it.
Let them see them nails. They fabulous. He's fabulous. Ah, click, clack, clack, clack. All right, go ahead. But I want to say, y'all heard him, right? He's got his bachelor's and his master's. So it's something I do on the show. When people say certain things, I always tell the people, remember, even though you may not be where he is or have obtained, that doesn't mean that you can't. So what you should always do is applaud. People should do like that. That's what we applaud. Always applaud. Celebrate everybody that's doing something because your time will come. And guess what? You're going to want people to do the same thing. So continue.
Right. So I accepted the job. It was like $15 an hour. At the time, I'm like, I really don't care. It's a job. It's in the city I want to move to. So let's go for it. So I moved up here, accept the job. Training was supposed to be a week long. We completed 2 days of training. We come in the third day. They was like, all right, y'all going out on the floor. You said what? I'm not ready.
Right.
It's still too much information learned and y'all already talking about. They're gonna be right up. So I was like, yeah, this ain't it for me. Lunchtime, gotta go. I went back home. Well, I went to my cousin's house. I packed my bags. I was like, it's not my time. It is not time for me to be in Atlanta. So let me just go on back to Valley. What I did was I accepted a job working at the bank. Once I got that job, I applied for grad school. I got into grad school, so I was working at the bank and grad school at the same
So what
time.
school did you attend? What graduate school did you?
Troy.
Oh, okay, okay.
So go Trojans.
And let's just point out how he persevered. He was like, I came here for something. Things got a little rocky, but he was like, I came here to do something, so I'm going to stay, and worked out, and you end up persevering, and it got you to your next place. So y'all hold on to that. Go ahead.
So I was working at the bank. I graduated with my my master's degree in HR. From there, of course, I was already on LinkedIn. So my first job in HR, they actually found me on LinkedIn, and my then manager reached out, wanted to say, hey, I see you have your master's, you have all the experience. I want to bring you in for an interview. So I was like, okay, first opportunity in HR, let's go for it.
And that's a good position, HR. That's a good position, yeah.
So I ended up going to do the interview. Interview worked out good. I ultimately ended up receiving the offer. Mind you, he calls me while I'm in the middle of doing a transaction. I was like, all right, let me finish this transaction. And I walked to the back, call, whatnot. You would have thought I won the lottery. I was screaming and jumping for joy because it was like, it's the opportunity, something that I have been wanting, but it's not, I didn't get it when I wanted. So what that meant was I still had stuff that I needed to do in order to get to that level. And that was going to be, getting my master's and all. So I got it, went back, typed my 2 weeks notice, let my manager know, hey, in 2 weeks, I'm out. Went to that job. I stayed at that job for roughly a year and a half. And then the lady that was actually got me on at my current job, we actually went to church together. So she had reached out to my neighbor at the time and asked. My neighbor at the time had then accepted another position, so she was like, no, I know somebody. So she called me and I was like, yeah, let's go for it. Came up, did the interview, got the job, and I've been in
That's
the city
history.
since then.
So that's amazing. So you persevered on through. It seems like, so where do you get that tenacity from? Because everybody, has looked up to somebody or looked to someone, or sometimes it's just saying, because I know I come from a family where people are very headstrong and they persevere. They're fighters. You know what I'm saying? Did you come from a family like that?
Very much, yes. So I would say like my family dynamic. Of course, my parents, we all have a strong work ethic. So I thank them for instilling that in me to this day. My work ethic. That's something that I take pride in. But it's also coming from like a small town. We don't have. I'm not gonna say we don't have much because we have a lot, but it's not. It's the difference between Valley and Atlanta. So Atlanta, you see, more of the the lavish lifestyle versus in Valley, it's more. You have some people that have the lavish lifestyle, but it's more going to be your working class people. And for me, I would say growing up, seeing all of my older cousins, they all graduated. They all moved off, and then when they would come home, you're coming home in the foreign cars and the design, and I was like, oh, I want this,
So
and
you knew if you was gonna get that,
I had to work hard
you was
to
gonna have to
get it
work hard, right?
because let's be honest, when I turned 16, my dad asked me what kind of car you want. I was like, I want a Mercedes. Let's just go ahead and say it.
Right.
I want a Benz. And my mom looked at me and she was like, if I'm not driving the Benz, what the hell make you think we finna get you one?
Right,
So I was like,
right.
okay, well, if we can't get the Mercedes, we can
Right.
do a Mustang.
Right.
Nah. But then I ended up getting the Mustang once I graduated high school. I just couldn't get it at 16.
So you say your parents. I think that was a good thing because my mom was like that. I just didn't get everything I wanted just because I could. You know what I'm saying? Because if you look at it today, a lot of, you're young. So a lot of the, you're just an exception to the rule. But a lot of people your age and young, because you're 30, right? Younger, they can't take no. That's why you have all these kids now. They robbing. You have kid with the kid killed his mom because she said he couldn't have the PlayStation 2 or play with it or whatever. He killed. These kids are not used to know and understanding that things just don't come to you. That you're going to have to work for it. And if you just go out and take something and then work for it, it don't last anyway.
Right.
So I'm glad that you understood that early on, especially being at your age, that if I want this, I'm going to have to work for it. But your parents guided, guided
And
you
it was
into that.
also like they rewarded us, so like it wasn't just you would just get stuff to get it. Like of course when it's a report card, progress reports, I'm gonna be honest, like they did not play the C's and whatnot. It was A's and B's. Really we striving for all A's. But if we get a B, it's fine, but we still not gonna just be complacent
They
with
set
the
the
B.
bar
We
high
gonna
with you,
need
yeah.
to continue to strive
Right.
forward and go to get the A and
They
whatnot.
set that bar high. That was good, yeah. And I think a lot of more parents should do that. Like what I'm
Right.
saying, don't settle for the less. Just because you can pass with that. That's what my mom used to say. I'm not accepting it just because you can pass, but you want to do more and go more and above. Okay, so you're here in Atlanta, did the HR thing, and then what happened after that?
So I did the HR thing. Rapidly, I've always been doing like the styling. So even when I was back home, of course, we had different events. It was just like, I want an outfit. I want to look good, so let me go. But I equate everything back to when it's time for something new, wanting a new outfit. It's my parents' fault because trips, award ceremonies, events at church, anything like new, whatnot, we going to the mall, we getting a new outfit. So now, growing up, that's literally been instilled in me. So I was like, okay. Now every time something comes up, I need a new outfit. I have 1,001 clothes. I don't want to wear that. I need something new for this.
Well, you know what that means, right? You're really blessed. Because if you go in your closet like I do, and I got 2 walk-in closets, so this is just one, the other one is over there. But if you go, I walked in here one day and I was like, what am I going to wear? Is it like something said to me, I feel like God said to me, see how blessed you are? Because all these clothes are here, and you can't decide what you want to wear, you know what I'm saying? So you should be very grateful. So you're blessed, you know what I'm saying? So go ahead.
So I was like that kind of sparked the whole shopping aspect of it. And then, so I would say putting the looks together then. And then my cousin actually started acting, and he was like, reached out to me like, I need outfits for different red carpets or different stuff that I'm going to. So I was like, okay, cool. So that kind of slowly transitioned more into like the styling aspect of it. But it was never like when I first started doing it, it wasn't just like, oh, okay, I'm doing it to turn it into a business. It was just something that I like doing. So I was like, let's just go do it. So we fast forward. I move up here, and whatnot. And my best friend, she was like, you need to go ahead and start your Instagram. Her and my cousin were on me heavy. Start your Instagram with doing your style and stuff. I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. Not really, I wasn't going to do it. Because it was just like, I just like to do it. I don't necessarily know if, like
You want to
this
be
is
doing
what I
professionally,
want to do
right.
it professionally. But it was also, I had to realize, like, this is a God-given talent. Like, putting a look together is not easy it takes. You got to have an eye to be
Yeah.
able to go and take and match and put everything together.
Yeah, people don't understand that that's a skill because sometimes people try to put down people who are in the arts and fashion like it's, but it's a skill to that.
It really
You
is.
know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of people, I mean, looking your best. Because let's be clear, the first thing people see before your personality, character, all that is what you got on, how you look. They trust me, you know what I'm saying? And that's what everybody, even people try to say they not, they do. We all do it. We human beings. So a lot of times the first thing we're observing is the outer appearance. You got what I'm saying? So, and it's an importance to it as well. So
It really is. So I started doing it. So eventually I started the Instagram. And I was like, okay, so what do I want it to be? And at the time, it was, I want to say, styled by the Bougie brand because my name at the time on Instagram was His Bougie. And I was like, I'm just doing this just to do it. Just to say I did it, make y'all happy so y'all will quit being on my case every time y'all see me. We ain't gonna do your Instagram. 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 I got tired of hearing it. So I did it, but I wasn't really taking it serious. So then I think I'm trying to see what happened. I really started looking more at more like your more well-known celebrity stylists, and I'm like, okay, all of them. When you look at them, they don't have just like a generic thing. They have their name tied to it. So if I'm going to take this serious, I need to actually tie my name to it. So I was like, well, what do I want, my name to be?
branding.
I was
Yeah.
like, so he is bougie. We gotta get rid of that. So let's come up with something. So I was like, I do not want to, fully go Altavius, whatnot. So I was like, well, let's just do Tay. Okay, I was like, what else can we do with Tay? I didn't want to do my last name, so I was like, Rashad. Okay, Tay Rashad. But so I was like, I ended up spelling the difference because it was someone else. So I added the E to mine, so Taye.
Okay.
So then I changed my personal Instagram to Tay Rashad, and I changed my styling page to Style by Tay Rashad. And then from there, it actually opened up more doors, so I was able to get, like more
So
clients.
before you get into that, let's talk about the importance of branding because that's what you did. You branded yourself, and how important was that for you towards your brand, branding you, and then you had to make changes as well. Because a lot of times what people don't realize, when you're developing something in the beginning, you are developing it. So the name may
Right.
change, the idea may change, a lot may change. You know what I'm saying? So what was the importance for branding for you?
I would say the importance for branding for me was definitely getting myself established, coming up with okay my game plan, how I want to do everything, and also making sure that once you creating the hashtag, so once you start searching, you're gonna see it, and that's how I ended up coming up with, like everything. So I took it by basically studying other people and how they move and whatnot to get a better feel. Not necessarily to say that I'm trying to imitate what you're doing, but I'm seeing okay what works or how did they go from here to there, so that I can get a better understanding, so I know what steps I need to take and what steps I don't need to take. And for me, of course, the biggest step was the name change. Therefore, it's solidified and it's more tied directly to me because at the time, if you just type in, bougie or the bougie brand, a bunch of things will
Bunch of
come
things
up.
come, yeah.
So it wasn't necessary. You'll be like, well, who is this or who is the person behind this? Versus now, if you search or you see my hashtag, you'll actually know who the person is behind it.
Say, hold on for a minute. I'm sorry, y'all. It's hot. I'm sorry. Whoo! Okay, we back. I'm sorry. I think I had
Oh.
I shouldn't be having them, but I think I had one. But all right, let me go ahead. Yeah,
um,
we back. We back. Okay. You gonna see us a couple times. I'm swooshing over here. Go ahead, Tay.
but yeah, so I ended up doing that. I came up with like my different hashtags. So the biggest before I even came up with the hashtags, it was what do I want to do to set myself different, different from others, because let's be honest, there's a bunch of stylists out there, and the industry is so big, but there's room for everyone.
Okay, so let me ask you this before you go on. What sets you apart? I've asked every person I've interviewed. I ask them because everybody have their niche, right? And that things that sets them apart. What sets your brand apart from the other ones? Think about it.
Yeah,
You gotta know this. You gotta know it.
I'm actually, I would say, what I'm doing now is I'm actually coming, because I'm actually in the middle of doing like a whole rebrand now to get more into it, because at the time I was doing more just, like ready to wear. So
Right.
something, off the runway and whatnot. Now I'm getting more into, I want to do the more like the editorial and the couture. And of course, I'm still doing, like the research and all on it to make sure I'm getting myself on the right track. But I would say what sets me apart, like myself, what I feel is I try to curate, like a whole experience. So I don't care if you're a A-list celebrity or you're your everyday working class person or anyone. If you come to me and ask me, like for my styling services or for me to help out on something, you're going to be treated like you're a top list A-list celebrity. So
That's
meaning I'll come to you, I'll do all the shopping, whatnot. I'll deliver it to you. We'll do the fittings and everything. So I try to just give people a taste of, like small luxuries. Because what we have to realize is some of us can just go into the stores and, get the things. But there's other people who, let's say, I want to feel, like what it's like to have someone to come in with a rack full of clothes and, like the champagne and all this to style me and have the music going. Just basically make me feel good. So I try to do that for literally everyone.
So before we go, because we're gonna go more into your business, we're gonna get into that. I want to talk about adverse situations that you've experienced. So you are an openly young black gay male, right? Living in the city of Atlanta. But you come from a small town, Valley. I was about to say Valley Forge, Valley, Alabama, and then you have spirituality. So what denomination did your family?
Baptist.
Okay, so you're a young black gay male, and I'm sure you knew what you were then. And then you're in a Baptist church, a black Baptist church. So kind of when people think of that, you had kind of a lot of odds stacked against you,
Right.
with you being to be authentically yourself. So let's talk, before we go forward, for any other young black gay males out there that's living in smaller towns, or just, I grew up in church. I understand that whole. I grew up in a bigger city though. You know what I'm saying? But I grew up in church. Church was my family's thing. You know what I'm saying? And so just take us to that. And what was that like for you? And what were you feeling? What did you have to fight through to get to Tay Rashad in Atlanta?
I would say for me it was a lot of fighting. So for me early on at a young age I knew, I was like, I'm gay. There's no way to stop it. I knew like playing football, basketball, it's not me. I did track for a little while, but I was like, it's still not me. But and then for me, I've always felt, like the black sheep of the family, because it was always you have all of, you're looking at all of your other cousins and whatnot, and they're all off into sports. All the girls, they're doing the cheerleading and all that, and like it's me. I'm just over here in the books. So for me, it was always like an internal battle of, am I enough, or what can I do to, get out there to get, like more. So it was more just suppressing myself, so that, others would be happy, or, would not say anything. Of course, going through high school and whatnot, you get, of course, you get called the names, you get picked on and all this, but it was always you want to do that out. Um,
So are you? I would say you more on the feminine side of
mhm.
the like. So was it always like that, or you feel you had to suppress even that, like being in a, especially being in a black southern town like that?
I would say I had to suppress even that. So it was more just like I was pulled back. I was in a shell. I wasn't doing anything. So like I would probably you would see me out. Like I would go to a football game, but after that I'm going home. I'm like not really doing like anything. Most of the time I just stayed in the house. Stayed kind of like to myself or interacted with my cousins. That's it. But all the other stuff I really
So when your
didn't do.
family noticed, or were things said to you about, you know, what they didn't accept or didn't like, and you know,
Um.
and how did you navigate that? You know, even if you would call names, because there are a lot of
Mhm.
young men, and you know, you call faggots, you call this, you call that. You know what I'm saying? And some people can't take that. They can't make it past that. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And it has led so many people to suicide, drug addiction. You know, being very overly sexually promiscuous because a lot of time is trying to compensate, and a lot of time is to get back at who hurt them. But then
Mhm.
eventually you just hurting yourself. So how was you able to navigate? Because suppressing is like putting, it's like being a pressure cooker. You got what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Eventually it's going to burst. You got what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
how did you begin to make solace with being able to you know, accept you, and then, you know, leaving it to people to, you know, deal with what they had to deal with your story?
Um. I would say I had to
Sorry, y'all.
really.
Never thought about it, did you? You just lived.
Not really. I just, like kind of lived through. I knew I've always been, like an angry person. Not necessarily an angry person, but I've always been the type that if I feel that you're gonna try to get me, I'm gonna get you before you get me. So, meaning I didn't care what I said. If I hurt your feelings, to be quite honest, I didn't care because at the end of the day, it was I'm defending myself. So I would say at some point, and I really can't remember when it was stamped that I'm not, accepting anymore. Like I'm going to start standing up and defending myself, and whatnot. I can't think of exactly when it happened,
Hmm.
but I will say if like my family knew, of course, like I I literally laugh about this now because most of my cousins and my aunties and all everybody was like, oh, I mean, we knew we was just waiting on you to, just come on and say it,
Hmm.
whatnot. But I felt that staying there, I wasn't able to be me. So
Hmm.
the confident person that I am now, where you'll see me walking around with like a full set of nails on. If I feel like putting my wig on, I go put it on, and whatnot, and then experiment with different styles and silhouettes of fashion. That person did not come about until I moved up here.
Okay, then let's go. You said you grew up in church as well,
Mhm.
because you explained to me earlier that you sung in the choir, you did some
Mhm.
other things like that. So the spiritual part,
Mhm.
and then you know that you know what you're dealing with internally, and you
Mhm.
know I'm gay. You're saying, you know, I'm gay in this. How is that? Because that's turmoil for people as well, because they feel like God don't love them, God don't accept them,
Mhm.
and that it's just that's it. You know what I'm saying? And for a lot of people, they do accept that as
Mhm.
truth, which it is not. And I know a lot of y'all gonna have problems with me saying that, but it's not. Um, you know, they accept that, and then they end up living a life of deception
Mhm.
for a very, very, very long time, and they end up hurting people. Mostly women get hurt,
Mhm.
you know, by it. So how was that? How were you able to deal with that? Or you just nobody even cared, you know?
Um. So for me, I would say when I was younger, nobody really cared, and I really didn't think much of it. But as like I got older, I would say more along once I was in college. I noticed that people started to, like say stuff within the church, and I'm like, okay, so
And how did you deal with that?
for me, I was more like taken aback because I'm like, okay, what diff? Okay, so we're gonna take it here.
Yeah, we let's take it there.
Because I would say this was during that time frame of where if I felt that you was gonna try to get me, I was gonna get you first. So,
Right.
I hear people saying stuff, so I'm like, okay, well, what difference does it make if you up here sleeping with a married man or you don't have a child out of wedlock? So what's the difference? You wouldn't know what not, but it's always we want to cast a stone at like the gay person. I when no sin is bigger than the next sin. Let's just be honest. Call it ace a spade a spade. So I was always just like reacting back, reacting back, and then eventually I got to a point where I was just like, I'm I don't have to deal with this. I just so ultimately end up removing myself from the situation. So I would say it was a brief period where I stopped going to church. Um, and I was just like, I'm just gonna, stay to myself. At the end of the day, I'm like, God knows my heart. I still, you know,
And that's the
try to
question.
do
How did you
everything.
feel within yourself that God felt about? How did you feel that God? How did you feel God felt about you
I,
when you were able to separate from
mhm,
everything and get with just Him? Because
mhm.
that's what you know what I'm saying. What did you feel at that point?
I felt that, through it all, he still loved me no matter what I did. Because I'm like, I look back over everything that I've accomplished during the time, and I was like, well, if he didn't love me, he wouldn't allow me to be able to get to all these different points of my life where I have accomplished, like so much. Like, let's be honest, when I graduated college, I was highly decorated with honors course and all that. And granted, I knew that was because God blessed me with the wisdom and the knowledge to be able to go in headstrong and focus. And every time it was time for a test, not only I'm doing the work, but He's also allowing me to be able to retain and apply the information to concept on the test. So I was like, well, I don't feel a type of way about it. I know at the end of the day that God still loves me because if He didn't, I would not be here.
Right.
So that's how I always looked at it. And then, I eventually ended up coming back around where I was like, I'm just gonna do a relationship with God, like solely for myself. And that's when I started doing, like my devotionals daily, writing down in my prayer journal and all.
And I want to say something. I want to pause for 1 second
Mm-hmm.
because I'm about to break a code of interviewing because the interviewer is never supposed to get their emotions so wrapped up in it. I'm here to ask the questions and lead the conversation so that people can get to know who you are. But in my all three interviews that I've done, only other gay person was Rashad Corey, openly gay.
Mm-hmm.
He had went through traumatic stuff. He grew up in the church and he grew up in the apostolic church. And being molested and people preaching one thing and feeling on you and touching on you in the back and doing all of that, which I understand that. The second thing is, and then I had two heterosexual people, so you're only second gay person that I had.
Mm-hmm.
The first guy, Chef Cole, was heterosexual, and then had Quante, Miss QT Catering, she heterosexual. She's married, stuff like that. But everybody was talking about the conflict within themselves and God and church, just, really loving God,
Mm-hmm.
but could not. The church was just always making them feel bad about themselves, like God didn't love them. They felt like there was no hope. And so many people, I'm glad to hear that you were strong enough to realize that this is not God's fault, what these people are doing to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? This is them. You know what I'm saying? You was able to reconcile yourself back to God, really get back in his face, and you saw that his love and acceptance of you never changed.
Mm-hmm.
You got what I'm saying? And I want to say again, and we're going to get back to Taylor Shah because this is about how fabulous he is and all the wonderful things that he's doing. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get into his work on the BET Awards and all that. Okay, but I want to say this. Please stop blaming God for the mistakes of people who have free will. We all have choices, and some of us make the right choice, and some of us make the wrong choice. Be kind to people. because that same grace and mercy that God is applying to you is applied to us all. And if those of us who believe in Jesus Christ, when he died for it all, and his blood covered it all. Stop telling people that God don't want them, that they're not accepted by him. That is a lie. Let the Holy Spirit do the work. Let him be the judge, right? Okay? And let's get back to you.
um,
So you got back in your journal, you
mhm,
realized that God loved you, and then you was like, let me do what I got to do. It's time for
mhm.
me to get
Get
to doing what I had to do. So what did you start doing?
so I would say I started first and first. I was in and I was like, okay. One of my favorite scriptures, Jeremiah 29:11. Yeah, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you a hope in the future. So I literally was like, okay, I don't know what way, like this styling career is going to go now that I'm taking it serious. But I do know that if I put God first, then He will order my steps within His will and His way.
And what you said, he had plans to what? Prosper
Prosper.
you. That's the
Mhm.
word. And you applied that word.
Mhm.
And guess what? I mean, you're
And it
big.
moved.
Oh, okay.
It
All
moved
right.
forward. So I was like, okay. So I prayed over it. I was like, well, I don't know what to do. Then all of a sudden I started getting like these thoughts of, okay, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to. So I was like, well, let me just go ahead and write it down. And I'm like, if it's meant to be, it'll meant to be. So let's say 2021. This was maybe like a few days before my birthday. I got my first magazine interview. And I was like, okay, this went good. Told my story. Showed some of my work. Um, we yeah, we moved forward from there. 2022 came. This time I was in, I want to say two to three magazines. So I was like,
So
okay,
let's tell them what those You hear this? Let's listen to today's message. Is what I'm hearing from him is perseverance works, baby. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? You ain't let nothing stop you. You ain't let the small town stop you. You didn't let family criticism stop you. You didn't let the black church stop you. You didn't let losing opportunities stop you. You came here and did the damn thing.
right. If the biggest thing is I tell everybody, you have to train your mind to think the positives. Now, granted, I have not always been where the person that solely was the positive, but eventually you'll learn and whatnot. And this, which is hits on like a verse that I read during my devotionals. I want to say Monday, and it was, if you think positive, positive things happen. If you think negative, then that gives life to negative situations to happen. So I try to always look at the positive of things. So even though something bad can happen, I try not to think about it. I try not to reflect on it. I still look at, okay, well, what positive can come out of this? So that's the biggest thing.
So, as like the Bible says, a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And you
Hmm.
understood. I'm so impressed at 30 years old because let me tell you something. I'm glad that you have grasped these concepts now at 30 and not where a lot of people are grasping them at 40, 45, 50, 60 years old. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
You're still very young and still have your strength to do. And let me tell you something. As long as you're alive, you can accomplish what you need to accomplish as long as you're not wasting no time. And that's another thing I hear from your stories that you didn't waste any time.
Hmm.
So y'all hear that, people his age, don't waste no time. Don't let anything hinder you because you didn't. And like I like his honesty, like he didn't always do it, but he had to practice it. And
Hmm.
that was one thing you do. You have to practice speaking truth to yourself and encouraging yourself and
Hmm.
your gifts and talent. You have to keep saying to yourself, "Oh, you see what I don't know if you saw in my mirror when I walked in here. My all my confessions of faith. I read them
Hmm.
every morning. Anytime I come into my bathroom, my room, and I say them out loud to manifest. This is my destiny. The thing that God is opening for me. You got what I'm saying? And you'll
Right.
see when you speaking it,
It'll happen.
it'll start happening. You
It's
start walking
power
in
in the
it.
life. Excuse me. It's power in the tongue. You can speak life and death of it. So I choose to use mine to speak positive, things,
Hmm.
positive outcomes, and whatnot. Not, I'm not the person that I try to get you before you get me anymore. That's a
So
pass.
you matured
Mhm.
spiritually,
Mhm.
yeah, and your character. You're impressive. I'm glad that you're on here because I hope a lot of, and you make sure you share. I want people to see, like, don't, it's never too late for you. You know what I'm saying? I don't care where situation you found. Let me tell you something. His story ain't just if you're a gay male. This is just about being a human being. You have to persevere. Some of you have grown up in houses with parents who were on drugs. You grew up in abusive households. You know what I'm saying? A lot of you probably grew up where you probably grew up adopted in foster homes like that, and things happened to you and you just felt like, what am I going to do? And so you try to adapt to that instead of pressing through and persevering. And I'm glad that they could see a young person at 30 years old persevering. You definitely worked through a lot of things within yourself. So let them know the 3 magazines that you in. And how long ago was this?
2021 and 2022. So it was
So at that time, how old were you? 27,
20,
22, 28, 28, 20.
Oh, wait. Got the math on the spot.
Well, he didn't go to school to be no mathematician.
No. 2023 was 30. 2022 was 29.
Mm-hmm. So he was like 28.
So
27, 28. Okay.
Around that age. And whatnot. So it was Shout Out Atlanta, Voyage, ATL,
That's the magazine I'm gonna be in.
and Canvas Rebel.
That's the magazine I'm gonna be in, Voyage.
Oh yeah, it's real good.
Yeah. Did you see that? I had posted. Yeah. Look, we both, but he beat me to it. You know what I'm saying? But that's great. That's crazy. I'm gonna be in the same magazine that you're in. That's amazing. Okay.
So I did those.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, people saw it, so of course it ended up increasing my following a little bit. But it was also for me, I had to realize, okay, if I'm doing this, the biggest thing was I'm gonna say the biggest thing for me, it was, okay, I've accomplished this, but so now what's next? So it was the thing that I'm still working on now, and literally my friends everyone is always on, they're always on me. Like, I want for you to celebrate and realize to sit in some of your accomplishment versus accomplishing something and then, okay, I'm on to the next, versus whereas they may want to celebrate it for a week time. I'm like, okay, we did this, what's next? I gotta keep on moving to the next game plan. So I would say, but now I'm more learning that no matter, a win is a win. So celebrate it all in all aspects, and it makes life easier. But for me, I'm my biggest critique. So I'm always gonna be like, okay, I like this, but I could have did this right here better, or I could have did this, I could have did that. It just comes naturally. But I'm still, something I'm working for to try to control.
So you set goals and you started working towards those goals, and you start to see those goals come into fruition. And you have to. I tell my clients that I work with in mental health who I counsel, I tell them, start with short-term goals. Once you start seeing yourself complete those goals, then you go to bigger ones. Because when you complete those smaller ones, you'll want to do the other ones, and then you'll start completing. You start seeing yourself just, the sky's the limit. You just going above and beyond. So that's amazing that you were setting these goals. And so you was in the 3 magazines, and then after that, what happened? So you got your following increased, and so what started happening?
So I would say then my friend Zay, this was also in 21 before. Yeah, I think it was 21. He had reached out and asked me if I wanted to be, like an assistant styling for him when he was styling Miss Evelyn Braxton for her cookbook release. And I was like, oh yeah, absolutely. I love opportunity to come on, showcase my work and whatnot. So I did that, and that was actually my first celebrity client.
Miss Evelyn Bryant. See that? So he came from Valley, Alabama, to styling Miss Evelyn Braxton. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. You've accomplished a lot to be only 30 years old. A bachelor's and master's, because it seemed like you pretty much stayed the course. No matter what was going on, you just knew you had goals that you had to achieve. I say, come on, I want to hear more about that.
So I would say then that fast forward, I did once 21, I was 21 ended, I was like, okay, the next year I want to get, like more magazines. I want to do more styling work, and whatnot. I think my biggest thing was I'm not the type of, I don't care about the number of clients that I have. I would rather have the quantity. So, no, excuse me, take that back. Not the quantity. I'd rather have the quality.
Hmm.
So for me, I can have, if I get 100 clients, that's cool. But if I have, and let's say those hundreds are a one time, but if I have, let's say, like a 10 or a 15, and those are like my a constant repeat, I'd rather do that because that shows that my work is a quality work and they trust me
Continuity,
with
yeah,
my eye,
yeah.
and whatnot for it.
Showing
So,
continuity of your work.
hmm
You gonna have to style me when I have my photo because I have to do a photo shoot. You gonna have
I
to,
got you.
yeah, I'm definitely gonna hire him. He gotta get me. Look, he gotta get me together. I do not joke, but when you start getting up there, you gotta get somebody to make sure you look extra, extra, extra good. But so that's a man. Yeah. All right. So when y'all see that photo shoot, just know he put it all together for me. Okay. All right. Go ahead.
So I did that, and then 21, I set the goal for 22. I was like, I want to have, get some more clients, and that's when I started to, I did perfect, maybe like 10 or 15 clients that year. Then we moved to 22. At the end of 22, I was like, okay, I'm looking over. We didn't do 10 or 15. I actually did 8, but it was 8 repeats from the previous year.
Hmm.
So I was like, oh, okay, I'm at the goal, constantly building, those connections. So I was like, okay, I'm doing this. I've got my first celebrity client. I've done that. So I was like, I want to do more, like celebrity clients. I want to do more magazine works. I want to see my work on the red carpet. I want to be able, like turn on TV. I want to be able to call my family and be like, all right, I need y'all to turn on XYZ right now.
Hmm.
And y'all going to see the red carpet. And when y'all see this person in this color dress, just know that that's me. And I mind you, I said all of this at the end of 2022. This was around like New Year's. So fast forward into 2023.
Hmm.
I
I
got
got
the
hot again.
phone.
I'm sorry. You hot? It's,
I got the phone call about styling Kissy for magazine covers that at the time I want to say it was 4. So I was like, yeah, like let's go for. I'm like, okay, this is gonna work. This is another celebrity client, and it's all not only is it a celebrity client, but it's going to be magazine work.
hmm.
So I'm like, oh, I'm here for it. Let's go. Granted, was I nervous? Absolutely, because for me, this was my first time doing, like a big production on um, styling multiple looks on the magazines because it
Hmm.
was 4. Then we ended up changing it to be 5. So I was like, we got the looks together. The looks was amazing. We had a date set to shoot, but we did not shoot that day because it ended up raining, and the power went out, and that's when the at the time it was like, oh, it's gonna be a while before we can get the power back on. So we was like, well, we'll just reschedule it. What that rescheduling did was that rescheduling allowed me the opportunity to come back, make sure I had everything together,
Hmm.
and then it also added on an additional magazine. So I was like, okay. So instead of it being 4, now we're at 5 magazines. So I was like, okay, so excuse me, what's the goal, like for this? Give me, like the details on the magazines. I'll make sure the outfit is curated around, like the theme that we're trying to go for.
Hmm.
It's no theme. It's solely you. You got full creative range on it. So I was able to fully just tap in and curate a look solely based off that, just off the vibe that I was feeling for it, not only being the stylist, but also being, like the creative director assisting in a way, like saying, okay, this outfit I want on this set, this outfit I want on this set. Okay, well, when you take the pictures, I want you to take it at this angle or hold it more this, or I want you to pose this way. So, like to show more of the details of the outfits.
And I used to sing like really professionally, and like when I back in that I did
Mm-hmm.
sing, and so I know how long those photo shoots can be, and those when you have to do those ads and stuff like that for magazines, stuff like that, and promotional pictures and stuff like that. So people don't realize that's work, and it can
It
take
is.
like all day. And I have friends who modeled and still model, and I've gone to shoots with them and sat with them. So it's definitely a lot of work, and the creative process is what's amazing. So you
Mm-hmm.
would definitely consider yourself a creative person because you got an
Mm-hmm.
eye for color blocking. You
Mm-hmm.
know what looks good on a person. So you can look at a person
And kind of
and be
see like
like,
a
I know.
vibe of
Okay,
where.
so what can you see me in? We're gonna put him to the test now, cause y'all know my style is very eclectic. So I want to see if he could, pick it up.
So, um, let's see. Hmm.
hmm
That's okay. I do. I do see different textures. So of course you
Yeah, it's very versatile.
texture
Yeah.
is just one. I would give you more something like a very sophisticated look. So something like sophisticated and chic. So something where it could be easily like I can go to work, or if I have something I want to do out, we can do. So something along those
Yeah, my
lines.
style is definitely urban chic. Like I mean, if it's something where I really have to put it on, oh, I can put it on. Y'all know that because I can put it on. I can definitely put it on. But for the most part, this is me. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? But it ain't gonna be like a cheap hoodie or something like. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But
Hmm.
this is me like normal. You know what I'm saying? Where I'm most comfortable. And I think the environment my mom always dressed us really nice.
Hmm.
My mom always dressed really, really, really nice. Somebody is calling me. Oh, that's Chef Cole actually calling me. I'm gonna call him back. But um my mom always dressed us really nice, so it was always it was just eclectic with my fashion. I always had suits, and then I would have a
Hmm.
lot of leisure wear down, you know what I'm saying? But my look stays very classic. I can keep it for years and years and years.
Hmm.
That's what
A timeless
yeah,
wardrobe.
that's how I'm kind of, I'm not a person who dressed with fads.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I know what looks good on me. I've picked something and it worked, and I'm just really staying, in that vein. But yeah, you were right. It's definitely that. You know what I'm saying? But when it's something
When it's time to do it, I
yeah,
step,
I'm gonna put
I
it on.
step
I'm gonna
out,
go in
put it
Neiman's
on.
and Macy. I'm gonna go to Gucci, all type store and get something really nice and put it together.
Hmm.
But for everyday most part, I'm cool like this because I feel like some people can put a lot on it. I guess it helps they look.
Hmm.
If I put a lot on, because I'm not a label person at all. Like if I have a label, it's not where you see the name all
Hmm.
over it.
More like the quiet luxury.
Right. And I just, that's just me. I like, it's just timeless.
Hmm.
It's classic, but it looks good and it fits me. Because if I put a lot on, some people just have much. It takes away from,
Right.
you know what I'm
Less
saying?
is, and the biggest thing is less is more.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I
yeah,
always
yeah.
tell everybody, it's not what you have on, it's how you put it on.
Right.
Cause I can easily go, you can easily go get designer, but if you don't have like that eye to be able to take and mix and match it up with something, it could be looking a mess.
So who was that you styled for the BET Awards?
So that was Young Devin from New York.
Okay, okay.
Hmm.
Now who is she? Because I.
She's a rapper.
Well, now I know you. I'll say shout out to Young Devin. Come get in the closet with me and let's have a conversation. Maybe my boy can bring you. We can talk on the back end. 'Cause I know you famous. We gotta talk. But talk to your boy. Come to Atlanta.
uh,
You think you can get in the closet with me?
I definitely can. I probably can.
Yeah, like
So I'll reach out to because we have the same PR,
Okay.
Delisha, and that's actually how I ended up getting Young Devin as a client for the BET Hip Hop Awards. Is from Delisha because she is also Kiss's PR, and she was impressed with like the work that I did on set, how I was
Mhm.
acting, how I handled everything. I came in, got it unpacked, got everything set up, made sure everything was steamed, planned, and whatnot. Then of course got with Judy, the hairstylist. We went ahead and coordinated. Okay, what's gonna be the easiest way to get the
Mhm.
hair swapped out, so we can go ahead and plan the look. So we're gonna
Mhm.
do, Sue where her hair is like, um, like with a swoop and it's back. So let's go ahead and knock all of these out. Then we'll go to this wig. Then from there go to this wig and ultimately end up in this.
Okay, that's what's up. That's
So
yeah, because I saw it. I was like, that dress was nice. So everything went really well. The hair, the dress, everything was coordinated so well. I was like, this okay. He's doing his numbers because I was trying to gather as many pictures, to put out there to put, for people could see that you were coming on the show. But I really like, and I liked how you block your own style, how you block everything, and how you put it on. I was like, yeah, this is really amazing. People got to realize like clothes, just like food, can be therapeutic. It makes you feel good about yourself. You know what I'm saying? You take a person that's probably really, been in a nice, let's say a nice polo shirt or a nice pair of Gucci. Now I'm just throwing shit out there, but I'm just saying, clean them up, put them on something nice. People feel good about themselves. It helps that, help them to feel. Sometimes clothes help people feel empowered too. Because I know. Let me tell you something. Any job interview I went on, before I started working for myself, I always put a suit on. When I worked at the grocery store, I put a suit on for that interview. When I worked at Burger King, I put a suit on for that interview. Every job I went to, I put a suit on. And do you know what? That was the thing they was most impressed about. You know what I'm saying? When I was worked for this agency, it was transitional housing for veterans. And I went to the interview with a whole suit on. I mean, a nice suit. And the lady looked at me when I walked in. She was like, because you gotta who you know yourself to be. You gotta dress the part, look the part. You gotta come in there knowing that I mean business. And she said to me, I saw your resume is excellent. She said, but what impressed me? She said everybody else came in here with a shirt, jeans on, like they didn't even care. But you really, I said because I came to get the job.
Right.
And that's the thing my mother told me. So, clothes do play a part. Your appearance plays a part in what doors can open for you, what doors can shut for you. You know what I'm saying? And you got to make people know that you mean business. You know what I'm saying? So we have about 4 more minutes to end part 1. So before we end part 1, I'm going to ask him just a few questions before we get in. So when we get into part 2, Tay Rashad is going to tell you everywhere you can find him. And you need to go look my man up, okay? Look him up, hit him up. And I'm also going to put all his stuff when I post there, put his links. He's going to send me all his links. And then I'm going to post all of them so you all can click on them and say, I've been advertising him for over about 2 weeks now. So I know y'all is ingrained into your head. So when we get to part 2, then we're going to do our little 5 questions. Y'all know what we do. And then he's going to give y'all the word for the week from him, a word that will carry you for the rest of the week. That will keep you encouraged, keep your life balanced, keep you focused, keep you knowing that it's about you. So we got 3 minutes, right? So everybody probably thinking, I'm sure people like, this is a fine looking young brother. Whatever. You in a relationship?
Yes.
He off the market, hoes. He off the market. So don't be trying to hit him on the back end through me. It ain't happening because I ain't wrecking nobody home. And I ain't letting nobody wreck nobody home, right? All right. So we'll be right back for our part 2 with the Tay Rashad, celebrity stylist and designer. See you all in a few seconds.